What's the deal? Why are companies doing this?
Listen, Bitcoin is the apex predator of financial markets. You've got digital sound money that's grown at a compound annual growth rate of 200% for a decade. And if you're sitting there and you manage a treasury, you've got cash in your balance sheet, you tell me where else you're going to put it where you can get that type of growth. 200% compound annual growth rate for a decade. There's nowhere else for them to put it. We're printing an unprecedented amount of money. And so they're looking for a safe haven, and Bitcoin is that apex predator that everyone is concluding is the answer.
Well, it sounds great. Then, 캘러캐니스, why do you say on Twitter, hey, imaginary money man, when I said that you guys were both going to be here? Is that what Bitcoin is?
Well, obviously, it's imaginary money. And to a certain extent, all money is imaginary, except the U.S. dollar has the world's greatest army and economy behind it. So there are some things to the American dollar that have a slight advantage in the military bases we've placed around the world for the last 200 years, and the fact that we own the world's greatest companies. I do think it's a very real technology that's combined with massive market manipulation, speculation. And so for somebody like Pomp, who's got, I think, Pomp, correct me if I'm wrong, you have 90% of your net worth in Bitcoin. This is a religion, and it's a bit crazy. For a company to have some of their corporate treasury in cryptocurrency isn't crazy. I would keep it at a small amount. I would be very careful that you don't need that. So I wouldn't put 100% or 90% of your treasury like Pomp has done. But Pomp's you're a 30-year-old guy with no kids, and you don't have to, worry about it. So just be very careful out there, folks, because there is a decent chance that another technology will emerge that is better than Bitcoin. And when that happens, you could see just as easily as people poured speculative money into cryptocurrency and Bitcoin specifically, you could see the flows go out of it. So just be careful that, this very real technology, which is highly manipulated and highly speculative, you don't become the person left holding the bag.
Go ahead, Pomp. I mean, I'm getting out of the way. I know you want to get in.
Listen,
Go ahead, Pomp.
Listen, it's hysterical that Jason's talking about manipulated markets. We have a Federal Reserve and elected officials who have outlawed bear markets. If you're in the stock market and the market starts to correct, they step in and they just pump liquidity into the market. This is insane. If you want to talk about a manipulated market, let's talk about the stock market. We saw China today started to enter into their market as well. We can't have markets that aren't allowed to correct. And so what we're watching is investors are racing to find an asset where they can go that is an unmanipulated, transparent, programmatic asset. And Bitcoin serves that purpose, right?
Bitcoin's
think
not
about it this way,
manipulated.
right? The monetary policy of Bitcoin is as transparent and programmatic as they come. I can tell you exactly how much Bitcoin. Nobody can tell me how many dollars were printed today, how many dollars were taken out of circulation. Nobody knows. The system isn't transparent. Okay. It's completely, we're just watching the Federal Reserve and elected officials pump liquidity into a market, and they have outlawed bear markets. That's not how markets are supposed to work. What Bitcoin provides is a transparent, programmatic monetary policy that no one in the world controls. And investors have had enough, and they are going to seek refuge in something that cannot be changed at the whim of a government, an organization, or an individual. And that's why Bitcoin's winning.
Why is it manipulated, Jason?
I mean, it just historically has been because it's anonymous and we don't even know who owns the bulk of these Bitcoins. And it's completely possible that governments will make a very reasonable decision to curtail the usage of it and create their own. So when the US dollar becomes a cryptocurrency, it's quite possible that people will not want to be in this one. At any point in time, China could just decide that, hey, just like, Jack Ma is not allowed to run Ant Financial anymore, or we're just going to make him disappear potentially for some period of time. China could just say, yeah, we're not going to do this anymore. No more cryptocurrency in our country. You have to use the renminbi cryptocurrency. So there is just a ton of risk factors. I know a lot of young people really love this technology. It is a miracle of technology that nobody controls this, and it hasn't been hacked. I am in awe of it on a technological basis. I own a large amount of it because my wife was smart enough to buy it. So we've profited greatly from it, having bought it when it was in, the 2-digit range.
See,
that being said, be careful, people. This is the height of speculation, and just be very careful because it could be replaced by another technology. And, what Pomp is talking about here in terms of, the stock market is this, horrible thing. You just had a previous segment talking about the amazing companies that make up the stock market, like Disney. And they have 100 million people who are now paying for Disney Plus, which did not exist a year ago. Disney Plus,
they're all
by
down.
The way,
they're all down.
Stop talking about up or down in the day. Look at the arc of history. Disney will be here in 100 years. We don't know that Bitcoin will be here in 10 years. Be very careful, Pomp, with your money. This is advice from me to you, Pomp. Take half your money out of Bitcoin and put it in Disney and Google and Amazon, which will guarantee to be here in 10 years. You have lost your mind if you think that those companies are farcical. People are spending much more time consuming and using the products that Google and Disney make than Bitcoin, which has zero use case other than speculation and a store of money. I'm telling you this because I care about you, Pomp. Put some of your money, please, that you've made from Bitcoin in Disney. Promise me you'll put 10% of it in. That's all I'm asking you to do.
Jason,
ridiculous.
If you denominate the stock market in gold, it's down. If you denominate the stock market in Bitcoin, it's down. These assets are only going up in value because the dollar is being devalued. If you denominate in hard assets, all of these assets are down. The apex predator of financial markets, stocks, bonds, real estate, precious metals.
It's just a buzzword. Apex predator. You're just making up buzzwords. You're just making up buzzwords.
What has outperformed Bitcoin for a decade? How long does it have to go and outperform all these assets? How long does every asset have to fall in value compared to Bitcoin until you capitulate?
I own it for a reason. I do think that there is some value here. It is not something any reasonable person should put 90% of their money in. You're deluded, Pomp.
Now.